Hello and welcome to ACO videos. Once you learn how to make the moves, your next challenge is what the objective of the game is. And this is very important because if you don't know where you're going, everything can be very confusing. So I thought maybe let me make a small video so that I orient you on the direction of the game and what you're actually trying to accomplish. So maybe let's make it simple. Let's clear the board. We just want a queen maybe on the board, a king, and the opposing king. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand about this is in this position, whoever is the queen is clearly winning, and in that we can get in a basic level what we are trying to accomplish. So essentially we want to capture the king. So we know that the queen moves this way. We also know that the queen can move that way. So in those two directions, you realize that the black king is sort of confined into these squares and cannot get out of them. And this is very important because this is essentially what you're doing through the course of the game. You're trying to capture this king, but like at the beginning you've got a lot of pieces, at the end you just have a few pieces. So to constrict this space, this queen is to move first, let's say to an area like this. Here you realize that the queen is controlling those squares, and is controlling that square. And in this particular case, the king, the black king only has one square, which is the square here in front, because that's the only square that the king cannot be captured. So you move, let's say, to this square, and now there's not much we can do with the queen to restrict the space of the king, but there is a technique here or an idea where if you keep your queen away from the king, like a knight away, you can limit or you can control the king to the edge of the board. So in other words, if we move our queen here, notice that this is the same movement of the knight, which is like that, or if you want, it's like that. So by this, you notice that the king again has got a limited number of squares. He can go here, he can go here, he can go there, because since the queen obviously controls these squares and these squares. So let's say the king is trying to be as stubborn as he can be and moves there. All we need to do is move a knight away again from the king, and here again the king is being constricted further and further to the edge of the board. What white wants at the end of the day is to have the black king on the last part of the board, and his queen restricting the king. So let's say he doesn't deliberately move there, he goes there, we keep a knight away. Now he's got no choice. He has to move either to this edge or to that edge. It's up to him. Let's say he goes there. At this point, we've accomplished the first task. We then go there. Now we notice that when the queen is here, this king cannot move. It's got a few squares it can go to, that and that. That's it. So let's say it tries by all means to stay in the middle of the board. Now we need the king to join in, because the queen on its own cannot checkmate the black king. So the king comes, and now he goes there. Now we have an opportunity to win the game, because the queen, once it goes in this square and says check, the black king does not have a square to escape to. And this is very important to understand. This is the first checkmate that you must master. So the queen controls that square, controls that square, controls that square, controls this square, controls that square. So this position is checkmate. This is the first checkmate that you must master. It's very simple. If you're not sure, just repeat the video and master this one before we get to the rook. Okay.